Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Of course, we have so much happening that we're going to talk about this afternoon. Hey, Miss Thompson. Good afternoon, beautiful. Trying to get a piece of paper here so I can write something down. Hello. And for those of you that was on the live this morning where we talked about also, migrating to other countries and had that discussion about different countries looking for Americans and doing heavy recruiting and also paying to move Americans to those countries. I put that live event up on YouTube, so you guys will see it there. Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about that $200 million ballroom today. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that and quite a few other things. Good afternoon, Kimberly. That's why I wanted this paper out, because there's so much that we gotta talk about. I'm making notes of some stuff. Even some discussion about stimulus checks that are centered on the tariffs. Good afternoon, Alex. How you doing? Yeah, so we're going to talk about quite a bit this afternoon because, yeah, there's some talk of stimulus checks based on tariffs. So that's going to be a funny discussion because when I break that down, you're going to go, yeah, another sleight of hand. What I say, tiny hand magic. I tell y'all that all the time because Trump's hands ain't that big. So the magic that Trump does is tiny hand magic. So understand that. No problem, Alex. Thank you for listening. Hey, Shauna. Good afternoon. Yeah, so a couple of things. So, of course, the White House announced today that there is a project now. They're going to do a $200 million ballroom, gold ballroom at the White House. Now, my question to conservatives, right? Because I already know the answer that liberals have, or what liberals are thinking, right? My question to conservatives is this a good use of your tax dollars? The White House having a $200 million ballroom? Do you really think that that's a good steward of our tax money? Did you work all those hours and have to pay all those federal taxes for the White House to have a $200 million ballroom? Of course not. A tacky-ass gold ballroom at that. I'm like, so gaudy, so extra. He gonna have the White House looking just as tacky. It's already starting to look just as tacky as Mar-a-Lago. Oh yeah, she paved the Rose Garden last time. Melania did. Again, they don't have the greatest taste. Money doesn't always equal taste. You know what I mean? And these people don't have the best taste when you start talking about, you know what I mean? That type of stuff. You just like, that doesn't look very attractive. Hey, I live rent-free in your head, Anthony, because look at you in my live trying to get some relevance, beloved. Bye. Aw. I love the ones who like Trump living rent-free in your head, but I'm not a whole straight man dreaming about another man, though. Living rent-free in my head? How? I'm not the one that's sitting up there dreaming of another man while I have a whole wife. Like, what are we talking about? What do I think of Melania? I think Melania is just like Trump, but a lot of times that people seem to think that because she smiles or she doesn't say much of anything that she isn't, in order to be married, to each other. I mean, in order to be married to somebody like that, you have to share a lot of their values, frankly. It's not like she's running. Oh, is this the same guy signing in his wife account? Get out. That's just pitiful. Come on. Try again. Y'all gotta try harder than this, conservatives. Come on, this is high school levels of trolling. You know what I mean? Yeah, that headline is satire. But I ain't gonna lie, he wishes that he could sue us all. He wishes. He would, right. Melania likes money and opportunity. She don't want to be poor either. So she did what she had to do when she came here too. She overstayed her visa. And she stayed here too and got her a rich husband. And so she gonna stay, you know, in that situation. Again, obviously she's not unhappy. If she was, she didn't have to stay married to him. So thank you so much, Chief Encouragement Officer. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. Yep, and got her parents' citizenship. He absolutely did. She got her citizenship as well. And had an anchor baby. But folks don't like to talk about that part. Because it's supposedly different when she did it. Because that's exactly what happened. Ivana Trump had multiple anchor babies. Think about it. His first wife had multiple anchor babies. She was an immigrant too. I'm not saying anything wrong with immigrants. I love immigrants. But I look at Trump and I go, how you gonna say something? If you hate immigrants so much, how come 2 out of 3 of your wives were immigrants? Well, actually, no, I'm wrong. It was 50-50. I gotta be all the way honest. There was Marla Maples in there too. No. 3 out of 4 wives have been immigrants. Right? Yeah. Because Ivana, Melania, yeah, Marla Maples, she's an American citizen. I'm sorry, 2 out of 3. I thought he was married 4 times. My bad. He would if he could. If he felt like he could have upgraded Melania, he would have. But he understands that that's as good as it gets too. You understand? You understand? He understands that too. Because Melania Trump, she's pretty. I ain't going to say it like she ain't. She's pretty. Hey, Miss Fifi, good afternoon. Good evening. I ain't going to say it like she not. She is. But she's not much different than he is. You said, yes, Vance's wife, too. Vance's wife is what? She's not much different than J.D. Vance, but she don't look like no Melania Trump. Let's be honest. Now, let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, I would say there are some additions that Melania has had. I ain't going to lie about that. However, at her core, she is a pretty woman. She is. I give her that. And she's smart. She's not stupid. This is another person that folks take, they assume she's not very smart. She's actually a very smart woman. She's a very smart woman. You know, so I'm just putting it out there. I'm not a Melania Trump fan, but I also be best. Yes, I know, be best. We want to do for the children everything we can in the Be Best campaign. Even though I copied this after Michelle Obama, I'm going to pretend that it's my idea because yes, I am Trump. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's her. Yeah, she does do that. She does do that, you know. She does do that. She loved that Be Best campaign, too. See, the Trump administration ain't never found nobody they can't copycat off of. You understand? Yeah, you're right. I'm giving her a lot of credit. I'm giving her a lot of credit, man. I really am. I had to get rid of a DEI person that came in. It was a military person. Oh, no. That's a hardcore socialism. Listen, if you are in denial about the fact that you're a socialist, I can't allow you to be here. I can't do it. You can't call yourself a conservative and be a veteran. Come on. You're still getting benefits from the government. You're a socialist. It's the first tomorrow. Like, stop. My husband said Costco was packed today. They love to pretend I'm a conservative. I'm a real patriot. You're a veteran that gets a check at the first of the month. That's what you are. You're a socialist. And you're not being honest about it. That's the rumor that they met through Epstein. I don't have anything to really validate it, but that's the rumor that I've seen online. That's the rumor that I've seen. And remember, you all, we talked about that whole situation of Trump just saying the other day to reporters, because I saw something earlier. A long time ago, Trump had said he stopped being friends with Jeffrey Epstein due to a bad real estate deal. No, a property deal that was gone bad. That's how it was phrased, right? Fast forward to now, Trump says, oh, I stopped having an affiliation or a friendship with him because he took 2 of my employees. So I'm like, was that the property? You understand when you start piecing all the dots together from all the things said at all different times, and you go, huh, that's interesting. Again, I told you I don't believe in coincidences, especially when it comes to Washington, D.C. You understand? So that's why I'm going, huh, that's mighty interesting. What was the property deal? Because now he says it was because of employees. You know, that's what he says now. So that's where I get confused. So, you know, I just wonder. They come in so fast and leave so fast. Poor Tink Tink. They see that headline and they just spiral out of control. I continue to talk about Epstein, not just for the victims, but also because MAGA talked about the Epstein stuff all the time before the election, claiming that when Trump gets elected, he is going to make sure that all the information is out. So I'm here to make sure that y'all remember that y'all said that. Remember? MAGA? Hello? Is this thing on? Hello? Hello? Is this thing on? Hello? I'm like, come on. That's what they said. But now, all of a sudden, we're not talking about it no more. It's not that important. What does it matter? They want to normalize that type of behavior in America. We're not normalizing that. See, if y'all allow them to sweep this under the rug and act like it's nothing, that's where they normalize it. So if you have daughters, granddaughters, nieces, sisters, aunties, mamas, grandmamas, you need to be thinking about that. Sisters, cousins, like you have to think about that. Because this is not behavior that you normalize. Hey, storyteller, good afternoon. This is not behavior that we normalize. Child, it's so funny to send them packing so fast. Oh, then they got to go to the next troll bot account. I've got to stop this Negro woman from telling everybody to not normalize whatever Trump and his rich friends want to do. Shit. Enough. Enough. Somebody got set on fire. Who got set on fire? Wait a minute. I didn't know about that happening now. Oh, I see. No, he was a councilman. I spoke about that the other day. He's actually out of Virginia. He's actually out of Virginia. So yeah, he's out of Virginia. He wasn't a business owner. He was actually a councilman, a government official that was harmed. Because again, conservatives have normalized, right, that type of stuff against elected officials. It's all fun and games until it's happening to you. That's why you don't normalize that type of behavior. That's not okay. No matter who the elected official is, I don't agree with that type of behavior. There are other ways and methods to handle elected officials that you don't like how they govern. You vote them out of office. You don't vote them back in office. You hold them accountable as they're doing things. You don't sit around and act like, well, I got to wait X amount of time until they're out of office. No, you can make your voice heard every day while they're sitting there because you're still paying them. That's why it's important for you to be vocal and engaged in what your elected officials are doing. Yeah, I agree with you, storyteller. No more gentle parenting. See, the problem is liberals have been too nice, and I stand by saying this to Republicans. Republicans, they're not very nice in their discourse when they're going back and forth with you politically. So being nice to them is doing what for you? I don't know much, Cassie B, about the guy running against Lindsey Graham, but anything is better than Lindsey Graham. Anything. I don't like what they keep doing to President Trump, but we're going to continue to support him here in the Senate because that's what we do. America made sure we have an agenda. President Trump has an agenda, and we have a responsibility. And as long as I'm in the Senate, I'm going to make sure President Trump gets his agenda accomplished. I'm like, child, get off your knees, Lindsey. Jeez. Hola, dude. You know, it's always the same thing. Always the same thing. Another thing, another update. Now, there's an update in relation to the Epstein stuff and the prison. There is talk about... hold on for a second. Let me get to the article. There is now talk of let me see. I'm going to the article. New questions raised about Epstein jail cell, situation after fresh review of full video reveals a mystery orange shape. Hey, Lois. See how more information keeps happening? You see? See how more... Just the other day you were told, oh no, it's the full video. Then it became, oh, it's a reset. Remember before that, it was a reset. See what I'm saying? The story keeps changing. The story keeps changing over and over and over again. You know? Over and over. That's not a good thing if that guy's Project 2025. That's challenging Lindsey Graham, because that's even worse than Lindsey Graham. Real talk. That's like Tea Party sliding in and taking over. That's worse. This is another breed. This is worse than MAGA. This is Project 2025. Y'all better pay attention. Real talk. But let me go back to this, because this is new. They say that new forensic analysis of the Epstein jail footage challenges the DOJ and FBI claims that no one could have entered Epstein's cell before everything happened. So if somebody did enter that cell, yeah, and I'm looking at this video, you can see something, that some orange movement. So again, it becomes who let whatever that orange figure is into his cell. Hey, Russ, good afternoon. Good afternoon, handsome. Who let that person in? Who let that person in? You understand? Because somebody had to let that person in. It's not like they got in on their own. And we know, remember, didn't I just read to you yesterday? He had no roommate. Didn't I say it was really coincidental that all of a sudden, all that time he had a roommate, but the day that he didn't have a roommate, that's when it all went down? I told y'all there's no such thing as coincidences. I told you. It could have been another inmate, but the problem, Mimi, is even if it was, who let that inmate into his cell? He was locked in his cell. They found him locked in it. He didn't have a roommate. So even if an inmate went in there, how did the inmate get in there? That's the $100 million question that I have. How did the inmate get in there? Oh yeah, I have the same suspicion, Mimi. But again, y'all see how this story has changed so many times. First, they give us the tape. We see that the tape is not the full tape. We say that it's missing stuff. The media keeps digging and the media says, hey, it's missing stuff. It's missing stuff. The Justice Department comes back out and says, no. Actually, the system resets, and excuse Scooby-Doo, he's still trying to lick for something that's not there. He ate over 45 minutes ago. But anyway, if y'all hear the dog back there. But then they say the system resets every day. So that's why that 2 minutes and 30 seconds is missing, right? First they told us it was a minute missing. Then it was revealed it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds missing. See what I'm saying? Then it was the cameras weren't working properly. Then we find out he had a roommate, but then the roommate was moved out of the cell the same day that it happened, with no plans of giving him another roommate. We understand he made a telephone call that day a couple of hours before, you know, he had made a, you know, not a couple hours before, because we don't know exactly which time everything went down, but he made a phone call that day to his girlfriend. We know that much. It's a lot of things and a lot of moving targets here. Yep, it would take exactly, Sanopa, because it ain't no movie. It ain't no movie. And quiet as kept, it take more than 1 to 2 minutes for a person to do that too. Somebody else to do it too. So that's where I go. Ain't it really coincidental and how convenient, right? Remember what I told you yesterday, that the guards didn't do their rounds like they were supposed to. They wrote in the books that they did. They got charged initially, then the charges were dropped. Nobody in the prison system was charged whatsoever. Not anybody was charged with any negligence, no nothing. Okay? Nothing. All of these coincidences, come on. Do you guys really believe in coincidences like that? Hey, Wendy, good afternoon. Because I know I don't believe in coincidences like that. When you connect all of the dots, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I said, again, it's something more to what we're seeing. But the more Trump talks, the more questions get revealed, the more information gets revealed, because you're able to piece it together with other stuff from before. Yep, they sure did claim that those cameras shut off every night for maintenance. Oh yes, Pam Bondi has certainly corrupted the DOJ. But see, in her corrupting the DOJ, it also puts her in a position where MAGA doesn't believe anything they put out either. So see, it doesn't help them with anybody. It doesn't help them with liberals, and it doesn't help them with MAGA. Just don't help. It's just a recipe for disaster. That's why I said, I look at all of this and I go, when you put it all together, I just saw, look online so y'all can read the article and read and see the footage. They show the footage. You can see what looks like an arm and body of somebody in an orange jumpsuit, somebody had on a prison outfit. So I go back to, again, who let that person in? How did that person gain access to his cell? That was locked. He was locked in the cell. It's not like Jeffrey Epstein had the authority and the freedom to just leave his cell anytime he wanted to and walk around and come and go as he pleased. He didn't have that. So again, I'm asking, how did that other shadow or whatever that is, but it ain't a shadow you see, it's something orange. That's satire up there, Husky Hawk. That's just some satire up there. That's what Trump wishes he could do to Americans. To say, y'all gonna stop talking about this Epstein thing. But no, we're not gonna stop talking about it. First of all, let me stop for a second and say good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you had a wonderful Thursday. We're almost at Friday. You're almost there. You are almost there. But good afternoon, good evening to you. Okay? Good afternoon, good evening to you. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Thank you for all the likes, all the shares tonight. If you could tap that like button, if you haven't already, I appreciate it. I froze like Mitch McConnell. What did they say? Tap that like button. It is raining out here, so we're having a little bit of overcast. Tap that share button, and with share, copy link counts as a share, even if you don't send it to anybody. I appreciate that. And thank you for the gifts as well. I'm not asking for gifts, but if you do provide them, I appreciate it so much. Because I don't, listen, I've been in lives where they're like, hey, just give me such and such. No, no, no. We're having discussions and I'm talking about things that I think are important to you. That you need to hear about. Also wanted to let you know that there's a new episode of the Straight No Chaser podcast already up on Patreon. So for those of you already paid members of Patreon, you're seeing that. I'm talking about how Hollywood was always political. Everybody else gets access to this episode, this new episode of the Straight No Chaser podcast tomorrow, 7 p.m. on all platforms. And the live from this morning is already on YouTube. So if you missed it this morning, you can go over there and check it out too. So I always make sure I can put those up every day. So thank you so much. So check it out. I also did some other modifications to the Patreon. So for those of you, I have 4 OGs. First of all, that I want to thank you so much for being Patreon members and supporting what I do. So thank you so much. I want to let you know that I made some updates to Patreon. So I've been having this back room where I have all these other discussions. So I had these other 12 episodes that were kind of locked down. Those episodes have now been made available to the OG tier, in addition to some other tiers that I have as well. So check it out. That's why I have some other discussions that I cannot have here on TikTok because TikTok don't allow it. So that's when we get real unfiltered. Okay, well I can say all the extra stuff that I can't say here. Maybe Orange Monster did it. Says it. Listen. That's what I said. Honestly, when I first saw the headline before I read the article, I thought it was satire. Then I was like, why is a reputable news source posting something like this? You know, The Onion would make sense, right? Then I watched the video. I said, okay. It's not Trump. It's not Trump. Because I ain't gonna lie. I thought for a second that's what it was. I agree with you, Teresa. At some point, TikTok won't be around. Honestly, TikTok has changed a lot. And so because there's so many things you can't talk about here, that's why it's imperative to have other platforms to do it. The Onion is a great paper. I'm gonna tell you a little story real quick. I remember on the day when 9/11 happened, right? And I was at work and the first plane happened, and then not too long after that, the second plane happened. All these things happened, right? I remember, and then the Pentagon thing happened, and then all this stuff happened. I remember going on the Onion website, one of the few websites I could get on, right? And the Onion had a headline that said, "We fucked up." I'd never seen anybody do that. And it was talking about how our foreign policy had helped to put us in situations where we did things where we, that led us to that moment. You know what I mean? It was like, whoa, nobody else was willing to touch that and have that conversation. And I never forgot that from the Onion. That was one of those days where they were being serious because it wasn't a day to joke around, right? But I distinctly remember that. And it's probably, they have it on archive. What is it? Archive.org, whatever it is, where you can find archived items, anything archived from the internet. You can probably find it there, but I still remember that it was either we fucked up or we're fucked or something like that. But I remember. But yeah, the Onion does great pieces. But these days, reality has the Onion beat. I don't even understand how the Onion is surviving right now. How do you survive in Trump's world? And no, the background isn't real. The background is satire. But how does the Onion survive in Trump's world? How? I don't know. And I still go over there. Their stuff is still good. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's still good. But man, they got to be struggling over there to come up with anything more ridiculous than reality right now. Apparently you survive in Trump's world by throwing temper tantrums about a girl and G. I guess so. I don't understand what they do over there. It just seems to me the one running theme I find with conservatives is they're nosy. This is why they're always outraged about everything. If they mind their damn business, they wouldn't be outraged. It's real simple. Mind your business, you don't have nothing to be outraged about. That's how I look at it. That's why I'm not outraged by so much. Because frankly, I mind my business. And when you mind your business, You don't get outraged as often. You understand? Because how am I going to be outraged about your life? Yeah. What I was say it again, find the plot. I always tell people, what do they say? The secret to staying young and having vibrant, taut skin, minding your business and drinking water. Stay hydrated and mind your business. Guaranteed you'll be fine. But if you stay all in other people's business all the time, staying inserting yourself in places where you shouldn't be, well, guess what? It's going to age you. It's going to stress you out. Don't do that. That's why I tell people, just minding your business is free. It really is. It's just so many people don't like to do it. Yeah, Renee. I never understand people outraged by other people's business. Those people chose to do what they're doing. How you outraged by their shit? Don't make sense to me. A psychic medium, chill. Okay, Miss Cleo, call me now. I think I can see in my mind. I see an orange figure moving closer. I did too, but it had on a jumpsuit. Or I wonder if it's gonna be that psychic medium from, what is it? The lady from New York, Long Island medium. Yeah, her. You know what I find funny about the Long Island medium? Every spirit talks to her, but the spirit of deceased hairdressers telling her that haircut is at least 15 to 20 years old. That's the part I don't understand. She can hear all this stuff. She can see all these visions, but she can't see herself in a new haircut. Make it make sense. Don't make no sense. That's the thing right there that tells me I can't believe anything that she says. I can't believe nothing she says, because you can see all of that stuff, but you can't see that. That don't make sense to me. That don't make sense to me. She's strong-arming spirits. Maybe they're afraid to tell her she needs a new haircut. Maybe that's what it is. Because I'm telling you, she's business in the front, but she is party in the back. And I'm like, huh? No. That's like Trump got the same haircut. Ain't really much difference, but it's not okay. You might be upset by MAGA Russ, but you ain't outraged. See, outraged people, they try to get all up in people's business and do something about it. Those are Karens. That's what I call Karens. Karens get outraged a lot. Know why? Because they always in other people's business. If they mind their own business, they wouldn't be outraged. Minding your business is free. You understand? That's what I mean by that. Well, if he gives us the money, we will have it. Who? Miss Cleo says, Spirit says you need a new hairdo. Right, but she never sees that. That's the thing. She don't never see that. That's what I don't understand. Now I'm going to tell you about something else that's happening. There's talk about Americans getting stimulus checks. Have y'all heard that? Have y'all heard that? The talk of you getting a stimulus check? And guess what that stimulus check? See, Trump trying to buy you as a distraction again. Trying to buy you as a distraction again. And $600 ain't shit. See, that's not enough to distract me. You understand? If the government wants to distract Americans, you're going to have to put another zero on that. You understand? At least $6,000. And I won't be totally distracted. But there's no way to exclude Democrats. That's the key. That's the key. It's no way for them to implement paying people that money and not knowing who's who. You know how many people are either unregistered, like they're unaffiliated with a party, registered with a party. Who you're registered with is not tied to your, tax records and all this other stuff. But my thing is, hey, now if they was talking 6,000, I'm willing to delay a discussion. Listen, 6,000 tax-free dollars. However, we're going to talk about it at some point, because $6,000 is not enough for me not to talk about it. I'm just keeping it all the way a buck. But $600? Man, get out of here. $600 is not enough for me to not pay attention that I'm paying more for stuff. Because think about it. If you got $600 back as a tariff refund, right? You just getting back money that you already was charged for stuff. You paying more for stuff because of his Trump taxes. So you just getting back money that you already spent. That's all it is. It's not free money. It's not free money. It's not some tax-free gift. No, it's just a return of the money you already spent. Man, if they gave everybody $6,000 or $60,000, the economy would tank so fast. I'm being honest, because it'd be too much money in the economy. So it would tank so fast. So fast. Just too much, just too much. So it would tank too fast. Remember, one of the reasons why we have inflation is all that money that was infused into the economy during the pandemic. All of those government pandemic checks. All those, and we have to be honest about it. Government sending out all of those checks also helped to create inflation. Because then once people had all this money, well, they wanted to spend it. And then you combine it with the pandemic, which caused the prices of things to tank. And businesses were desperate. So in their desperation, they were doing whatever they could to make money. So they were selling on a discount. They were selling on a discount. So, you know, that's the part that I think sometimes we forget. Say it again. You too? But $600 ain't no money. That's not no money. You can spend that on one grocery run these days. That's one grocery run. One. And that food that you buy in that grocery run is not going to be enough to last you for the month. Not with these grocery prices. So that's why I said $600. Come on, just another way to increase the deficit. And then later on, see, I look at it as trickery because they'll send American households $600. Then they'll turn around and blame us for the deficit when in fact it's due to giving rich people tax cuts. Building a $200 million ballroom in the White House. They cut funding for childhood cancer, but we got money to build a $200 million ballroom in the White House. That's why I keep telling y'all, Republicans be like, fuck your kids, and y'all don't say nothing. You don't give a damn about children. You like fetuses. That's what conservatives like, fetuses. Because every time conservatives attack your children, you don't do nothing. You don't do anything. Man, you never lied, Trudy. Our children and grandchildren are going to be paying for this admin for a long time. That's why I said this will not be resolved in our lifetime or your life or my lifetime or y'all's lifetime. This is something that's going to take decades to resolve. That's one of the reasons I like that conversation we had this morning about the other countries heavily recruiting Americans to move to their countries for work and even paying for you to move to those countries. That's a big draw. Because we've been talking about it in my house all day. Looking at stuff in my house all day. Because that's a serious consideration for us here. It's like, listen. At some point, you get tired of the struggle. You get tired of the bullshit. You get tired of playing the game. Doing this rigmarole over and over and over again and not getting anywhere. I ain't mad at you, Tony. I ain't mad. Because, see, you realize that there's this dream that you were sold that you're never going to get. And until you wake up and realize what it is, you got to make a decision. What am I going to do? Am I going to do something to fix the state of how things are? Or am I going to do what I need to do for my family? Oh, and you could do both. You can also do both. But I don't know about y'all, but to Nerd Alert's point, I'm burnt out. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. It's like, damn, I was told when I was much younger that at some point I would get to retire because I used to see the people older than me retire, but there's no concept of retirement now in America. The people before us, yeah, but the rest of us, we always got to keep working. You need money. Hey, Jess, good afternoon, beautiful. You need money, so you got to keep working. There is no concept of rest. You literally rest when you die. That's your rest in America. They don't treat the elderly with any respect. Hey, Lisa, none. But then again, the elderly don't respect the youth either. It's just no respect. It's all this entitlement in America. Everybody think they entitled to something. Nobody wants to work together. There's no sense of community. It's just everybody grabbing at what they want as individuals. Because you know why? The propaganda that's fed to Americans is about individual excellence. They also feed you that patriotism and all that bullshit too. But that's only to feed and help the government. The we is only the collective when it comes to help the government do what they want to do. Outside of that, they preach to you and they push propaganda to you to be an individual. Not do what everybody else is doing. Do your own thing. Don't be like them. You understand? Up until it's time for you to do what the government wants you to do. And then it's about we, the collective. Outside of that, nah. Ain't no collective. Because they don't want you working together to take over them. They just want, not over the government, they want you to work together to take over their opposition. That's the only time they want collective, we. That's it. Pay attention. Like I saw some footage earlier today. Rick Scott was upset that, you know, it's a proposal coming up about they're trying to get a bill passed to say that hold on for a second, because I just want to make sure that I report that before I do what I have to do. Not that you know, people want to be hateful. I don't really care about that. But if that's what you want to do, hey, I'll let TikTok handle it. The money goes to the government, and then they hand it to a private court. But Rick Scott was complaining because he was upset about this bill that was banned Congress from stock trading. And he said it's like people are picking on people. Now, Rick Scott is worth millions of dollars. I think at least $50 million. At least $50 million, okay? If he doesn't like the fact that Congress might not be able to trade stocks, he could always stop doing that job and just chill. He has money, right? He acts like he's desperate or destitute or entitled. Oh, I'm sorry, he's worth $500 million. So he doesn't need that job at all. So basically, he wants to be able to sit on his riches, make more riches, make rules for you and for me about what we can and cannot do in relation to stock trades. But then he gets to do stock trades and regulate those same businesses and the market. Now, that ain't right. That ain't right. That's not fair. How is it that he gets to do that, but we don't get to do that? Oh, I didn't forget about Rick Scott's Medicaid fraud. Or Medicare fraud, I'm sorry. But it's interesting to me that Florida seems to forget. I don't understand how Florida keeps forgetting and keeps voting for him. We should be banning people that have money because, listen, I don't understand. Well, I do understand. The reason why rich people run for office is because if you wanted to change the rules to your benefit, wouldn't you get on the inside? I need y'all to think and understand. Wouldn't you get on the inside to change? That's how you benefit, right? You get on the inside, you find out how the system works, and you change the rules. That's what you do. You change the rules. And then you turn around and you use rhetoric to convince people that voted to get you there that what you're doing is really for them when it's really for you. See, that's that bullshit they tell you rich people are job creators. That's the bullshit they feed you. We have to give rich people tax cuts because if we don't give it to them, they won't create jobs. No. They're still going to create businesses because they're greedy and they want to make fucking money. The question is, will we come and patronize that business? Because the business won't stay in business if we don't buy. We're the job creators. I'm sick of rich people lying and saying it's them. No, it's us. We create those jobs. We've been job creators from the beginning and we continue to create jobs. Why do you think they build businesses in your neighborhood? It's not because rich people go to those businesses. It's because you go to those businesses. When they build a new Chipotle in your neighborhood, that's not for a Hilton system. That's for you. Because you go to that Chipotle's. When they build a new Walmart, a new Lowe's. You understand? That's rich people building shit because they know that you'll shop there and spend money. If they didn't think you would spend money, they wouldn't build it, would they? Exactly. They build it. Listen, before they build it, they lobby the government so they can get tax breaks using your money to build it. Then they turn around and don't pay taxes and then bitch and moan when they might have to pay them, and then work really hard to lobby our elected officials to make sure that you pay even more again. Wake up. These people don't care about us. And you're not going to live forever. So what are you leaving behind for your children? What are you leaving for your babies? What kind of America are you leaving for your babies? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Because you ain't got too many more options. You're welcome, boo. People think they're changing anywhere Trump is going. Everything. David, why are you telling us, beloved, with all of that? Nobody cares. That's DEI. No, we don't do that here. No. Trump said I don't have to do that. Trump said I don't have to do that. So we're not doing that. Sorry, not sorry. Because I'm really not sorry. I know you probably meant that and it was so heartfelt and you wrote it all with your whole chest. But yeah, I blocked it and muted it. Yeah. Too bad sometimes. The rich doesn't care about the less fortunate. That's why I hate when the poor... Yeah, but the poor defend them because the poor is ashamed of being poor. See, I ain't ashamed of the fact that I grew up poor. I'm not ashamed of that. We didn't have a whole lot of money, but we had a whole lot of other things. We had character. We had morals. We had brains. We know how to read books, write books, sell books, market books. You understand what I'm saying? Code websites. Whatever was required, we know how to do. So I didn't feel poor because now, well, let me say this. I knew I didn't have everything that everybody else had, but frankly, everybody else around me didn't have nothing either. So when everybody else around you ain't got much, that's just normal. That's the default setting because that's what you're used to. We didn't have the internet. So there was no ability to see a global scale of America or the world because we didn't have the internet. The most you knew about things was whatever you could see on TV or wherever you traveled to yourself. That was really the bulk of what you could get. The internet is different. The internet has allowed people to see more of the world and to see more how people live. And that shows you that you ain't living the best that you could because you live in America. Maybe a long time ago, but not now. That's not the world we live in. America is a land for the rich. This is a tax haven for the rich. Ain't much middle class left because they squeezing the middle class and they pushing them back down to be even further down. But understand, if you're not in the 0.1%, you are poor. So when y'all get all into that hierarchy, well, I'm upper middle class and I'm middle class. The key word is middle class, beloved. You're not rich. So you're going to get caught up like everybody else. You're not rich, but you're doing fine in this great country. I can't tell because you didn't reach in your pocket and put nothing up here on this screen, so I have to boot you. Broke man walking. Bye-bye. See, what you're not going to do is come in here and brag on your wallet and then not even give me no likes. That's the first thing. Likes are free. Shares are free. He didn't even do that. So listen. And I'm supposed to believe you doing it big like that? Chill, bye. You're not going to come in here and brag. That's what you're not going to do. I can't stand somebody who brag like that. Man, I got this, I got that. Then when you say you got this bill right here, oh, no, I ain't got that. Well, then you ain't got it. Quiet. Quit stunting. That's why I had to let bro go. Thank you all so much for the go. That's why I had to let him go. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Ain't nobody trying. Because let me tell you something. When somebody got it, it's nothing to spend it. You understand? You understand? Listen. When they got it, they spend it. When they ain't got it, they talk a lot. They try to delay. Want to talk about it. Wait. Hold on. Let's talk about this. Wait a minute. I just met you. I ain't going to be spending all that. If you don't have it, just say you don't have it, sir. It's okay. It's okay. It really is. But you were the one bragging on your wallet. I never mentioned your wallet. You did. The nerve. Yes, it was Broke Man Walking. That sounds like a Tubi movie, don't it? Sounds like a straight up Tubi movie, honey. Starring Vivica A. Fox. Listen, let me leave Aunt Viv alone. Let me leave her alone. Because I like Vivica Fox. I just couldn't think of nobody else's name. I just couldn't think of nobody else's name. You said you just filed bankruptcy if Trump tried to sue you. Hell, even if he did, people forget. Anybody can take you to court and sue you for money, but courts do not enforce collection of that money. You still have to hire a whole other company to then try to seize assets to get your cash. That's two separate things. You understand? They're not the same thing. Yeah, they're not the same. You can sue anybody you want. Getting your money is a whole different beast. And it's harder to get it than it is to just sue for it. Suing for it is easy. Getting it is the work. That's the catch. You know. Oh, you just got your pension today? Wow, my husband still hasn't gotten his yet. Yeah, enforcement is not part of the court. Yep. Yeah, you didn't know that, boo? Yeah. It is not part of the court at all. I'm gonna tell you how I know. Because I thought about doing collections enforcement. Meaning I was gonna chase people who have judgments, right? And you know, because that's public information. Find judgments and then contact the people that have those judgments and say, hey, I can get some money for you. Whatever I get for you from your judgment, I get X percentage of that. You know, because again, they're not getting nothing. All they have is a judgment. A judgment does not get you money. A garnishment, you're gonna have to go another way to get that money, to seize assets. That's two separate things, but they're not the same thing. Yep, moving from pensions to 4 grade. Yep, it's a scam to keep you poor. I worked with a lady who was still working in her 60s only because her retirement got wiped out during the 2008 mortgage crash. She lost everything in her 401k, so she had to start over. So she was working because she had no choice, and then ended up getting fired some years later from the job that she did have. So I tell you, you never ever. It's like, again, the system is set up where you never rest. It's just never a rest. You know, Roth, you can take out what you put in without penalty. So y'all see what Alex is talking about. She lost money because of bad choices. Yeah, you're right. She did make some bad choices, but she also didn't bank on the market the bottom falling out of it. See, those weren't her choices. And a lot of times, again, people are getting guidance, trusting the information that they're getting from people who claim to be experts. But they're guessing too. Nobody expected some people did. Some people knew what was coming with the mortgage. I knew what was coming because I was seeing what was happening. Some of the stuff I was seeing from like personally seeing people, I'm like, how the fuck you afford that house? You bought a house. Who the hell gave you a loan? Like, for me, it was some of that on a personal scale of knowing certain people where I'm like, damn, they giving loans to anybody. Or me reading about, you know, people working in a grocery store make $50,000 a year, but getting approved for like a $500,000 mortgage. What? Especially when they were doing those adjustable rate mortgages and they were talking people into doing the APRs and they would tell them, listen, come into this house, come in with an adjustable APR because it's real low and you can refinance once you get in there. But the problem was, once the people got in there, they weren't able to refinance and get a fixed rate mortgage. And then when the rates shot up, they couldn't afford those mortgages anymore. I remember that stuff. I remember when somebody would buy a house on Tuesday and on Thursday, they were able to refinance. I remember that shit. The mortgage market was crazy. The house market was crazy. It was letting people do all types of stuff. No, that was before Obama, beloved. Try again, Kentucky. I gotta boot you because you coming in loud and wrong. This shit I saw starting way back. Way back. It was before even Obama I saw that shit. I saw this stuff a long time, even before. That's what I'm saying. This happened before the 2008 crash. It was leading up to it and when 2008 crash happened, but I saw it before then. Yeah, Kentucky was too loud. So I had to send him packing. Back to the Midwest you go, like they say. But it was building to it. And by the time 2008 hit, it was a wrap. Like it was, because it just kept getting worse and worse. And how the market was, because they was doing anything to get people in homes at some point. As it got closer and closer to 2008. But also, even when they got you in a home, they were willing to refinance people for anything. People were buying a house, like I said, on Tuesday, refinancing on Thursday. Like they would buy a house on Tuesday, go out, buy a brand new truck, get a pool bill, all these things that they signing up for, and then refinance and pay it all off. And then people would just keep refinancing. I know people who did this shit. So that's why I'm saying I know it. I saw it with my own eyes. And the whole time I'm going, we just can't afford a house right now because we can't afford to do that type of shit. Yeah. I see somebody talking about no job and 2 houses. Like, yeah. That's why even when I saw people, like when we were looking for our home, we were realists, right? Because the funny thing is, if you look at these TV shows, like if you I don't look at that shit anymore, but I used to. I got caught up in looking at that House Hunters and HGTV and all that other shit. And people be like, well, what kind of home are you looking for? Well, we're looking for a modest starter home. You know, something with 5 bedrooms, 6.5 bathrooms, you know, on 10 acres, with an in-ground pool and a jacuzzi and a spa room. And we would like an executive level kitchen. That would be great with an in-law suite. And what's your budget? Oh, we have a modest budget. Just $2.5 million is our ceiling. Like the fuck? We are not the same people. We're not the same people. Like when I watched the show, Love It or List It, like, I ain't gonna lie, I like watching that show, but I ain't like those people. If I'm gonna sell my house, I'm not about to do $60,000 of renovations. Are you kidding me? If I'm gonna do that shit, I'm gonna stay in this house. Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. See, I remember when I first started watching those shows, I thought the shows paid that stuff. No, the homeowners are paying for those renovations. So then why the fuck am I here doing this with y'all? No, this is a waste of my time. I could have did this on my own time without the cameras. You know, without the cameras. It'd be different if they were paying. But the homeowners are actually paying. Then no, then we're not winning. We're not winning. Once I found that out, I said, well, shit, why are these people doing this stuff? This is stupid. Why the hell would I do that for all my neighbors to be up all in my business to know how much we spend on renos and how much our budget was for the new? You understand? Again, makes no sense. I used to watch that stuff and go, this makes no sense to me. I'm watching though, but it couldn't be me. It just couldn't be me. I don't even understand how this happens. Yeah, I never got it. But I'm not about to do $60,000 of renovations, and on top of that, we're looking for a new home. No, we're not. If I'm doing those level of renovations, we're staying in that house. We're staying in that house because 9 times out of 10, that mortgage is closer to being paid off than not. You understand? So why am I going to turn around and go get another mortgage? Oh, the income never matched the budget on those shows. You ask the people, you be like, they'll say, what's your budget? $2.5 million. And they were like, oh, well, Sharon, she works at a modest dance studio teaching after-school dance programs. And John's a mechanic at a local car dealership. Then how the fuck are they affording a $2.5 million home? What? I be sitting at home like this. I ain't nothing like these people. I'm nothing. It almost would make you feel like a failure. Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? That these people can afford a $2 million home and I can't. You're not doing anything wrong. It's fucking propaganda. It's propaganda and special math. Nah, it was more than being white. Because even white people will watch that shit and go, that math ain't mathin'. Listen. Because I saw some black people come on there with that bullshit too, where I would be like, wait a minute, what do these black people do for a living? And it'd be something crazy. John's a matchbook maker. And Shirley, she makes dioramas for ants. Their budget is $1.7 million for their first starter home. How? That's why I stopped watching that stuff. That stuff is propaganda. It's designed to get you to start looking at your own house, right? And then you're in your own house going, maybe we should renovate our bathroom. No, you don't. You don't need to renovate your bathroom at all. Your house is just fine. That's just television working in conjunction with the machine trying to get you to buy shit. Trying to convince you that you need something that you don't. We needed a mud room. No, you don't. Your ass got bougie. You know what you do need? Just a mat next to your front door. And you can take your shoes off and put them on that damn mat. When did you get so damn bougie? Like, what happened? When I see people talk like this, I'm always like, when did y'all become these people? Because I know most of us were not raised like this. Most of us were not raised like this. That's why when I see it, I go, y'all done fell a victim to the machine. You said a standard bath renovation is $50,000 to $75,000. That's exactly why my bathroom hasn't been renovated. I ain't got that type of cash. I ain't got it. Now, if somebody want to come in and they pay it, and we can collaborate, and they gonna do the work, and all they want to do is be able to film it and stuff. Hey, I will have at it. I'll let you come and do it for free, but not if I ain't got that type of money. No. Oh, you a very lucky dude. You know how I got my down payment? When my mother, before my mother even passed away, my mother said, listen, when I passed, because she knew she was passing away soon. She said, listen, you need to get into a house before Obama gets out of office. Because when Obama gets out of office, it's going to be hard to get in the house. And so I'm going to hook you up with my people so you can start doing the things you need to do so you could be prepared to buy a house. By the time my mother passed away and got all that done, I was in a house maybe 4 months after that at the most. But she had the foresight to say, so with her life insurance, she told me how much I would need to set aside to put down. She had me work with the people to know what I needed to do. My budget, I was very clear. Listen, So I understand being very lucky because everybody wasn't as fortunate. Because down payments now, man, you got to have some money. But remember, y'all got to understand, 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, people was buying homes with no money down. I remember when my mama bought her townhome. It was no money down. Now people got to come to the table, 100,000, 50,000. Shit, people was buying homes with no money down. You look, and got a check back. Listen, it was different then. Now it's not like that, but then it was different. You're absolutely right, because I remember my mother bought her house, bought that townhome. She did get a check back. See, look, TB bought hers 100% financing. Honey, back in the day, it was different. Now, it's not like that. Now you got to have some cash. That's why I say, you know, some of them were interest-only loans, but some of them were just regular standard 30-year fixed loans. Because I know people who got into them. Some of them were just regular old fixed loans. I know some people who bought that house and stayed in it. I know some people who bought homes in programs when they were revitalizing neighborhoods, like they got a brand new house for $20,000. Great deal. They had the foresight to just be patient. And that's the thing. Sometimes it just requires a little patience. Oh, student loans are a scam. Check out one of my Straight No Chaser podcast episodes where I talk about student loans. I did another one recently on that, where I talk about how y'all need to understand how the Trump administration and Congress has changed student loans again. Cut the rope. But then I had another episode where I talk about student loans and how they set you up. Check it out. Link in my bio. But I thank you all for joining me this afternoon and evening. I appreciate you being here, as I always do. Thank you for joining me. Look, we got 83,000 likes this evening. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for all of the shares. We got over 60 shares. Thank you for all the gifts. I stop again to say to you, I thank you the most for your time. Because again, TikTok's a huge platform. You can spend your time anywhere, but that is the most precious commodity that you have. Once you spend time, you don't get it back. So I appreciate you spending it with me. I know the hour goes by fast. It does. It goes by fast. Look, I got to finish doing laundry. And I might go to Chipotle's. Because I'm not cooking again today. I tell you when I'm not going to get food at, fucking Wawa. Y'all know I'm still mad with her. She's still on my list. No, not Wawa, Wendy. That girl is still on my list. Matter of fact, you know what? She struck again today. She approaches me today. Let me tell you the story real quick. She approaches me today. She says, hey, I'm about to order me something from Checkers. You want anything? I'm minding my business, y'all. I didn't ask for nothing. I'm minding my business again. So I said, okay, sure. Let me see. What? She said, I can get 2 sandwiches in this deal. Which one you want? I said, get me the fish sandwich. She said, okay, fine. I ordered it for you. She said, you want everything to come on the sandwich? I said, of course. Give me everything to come on it. You want fries and drink? Nah, don't worry about fries and drink. I'll just take the sandwich, right? Okay. You know how it feels when you get your mouth all set for something, right? So the whole time I'm working on other things in the house, I'm thinking like, ooh, I ain't had a Checkers fish sandwich in a minute. Can't wait to eat this. This is going to be pretty good. With a little tartar sauce on it. Okay, that shredded lettuce. I'm here for it, right? Okay. So I wait 45 minutes. I see as I'm finishing up something in the house, the DoorDash lady shows up with my daughter's order, right? My daughter even paid. Like, I didn't have to pay, right? So I'm like, yes, I'm going to eat this fish sandwich. Good. So my daughter comes in. She goes, hey, we got a problem. So it's already downhill when I hear that. I'm like, what's the problem? She's like, well, when I looked in, they got the order wrong. So I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? She's like, well, they got my burger in here, but they didn't put your fish sandwich in here. Instead, you just got a double burger. I was like, but I don't want no burger. I didn't want that. I wanted a fish sandwich. My mouth was all set for fish. Look, I'm like Della Breeze. You got my mouth set for orange juice and there's only a swallow in the container? That's how I felt. So I was like, nah, I don't want that sandwich at all. Right? So I was like, just leave it on the counter. I'll think about it. Right? So, okay. So later on, my husband comes and he's like, oh, whose sandwich? I said, Kayla ordered it for us. I don't want it. You can have it. So he tries it. He's like, that burger's disgusting. I threw it in the trash. I'm like, okay, strike 3, right? So not only was the order wrong, right? It didn't even taste good, according to my husband, right? So then my daughter comes upstairs later. She's like, man, I couldn't even eat my burger. It sucked. You picked Checkers, beloved. I didn't even ask for Checkers. I was I was sitting, minding my business, because minding your business is free. Did I not tell y'all that? I was minding my business. I was hydrated. I was drinking my water, minding my business. And again, I was approached. That's it. Next time she approached me about food, I will respectfully decline. I've given you 2 times. I've given you 2 different occasions to get it right. And both times you messed it up. What did I tell y'all? I don't believe in coincidences. This is a pattern. Nope. So she and I are done when it comes to food. She deals with her food and I'm going to deal with mine. Both places are mid. They are. I will give you that, Cassie. However, I don't believe in coincidences. You understand? I already really didn't want the stuff anyway. But then when you offer it to me and you keep saying, come on, and then I do it, and then both times it doesn't turn out the way I expect, nope, that's it. You're done. You can't give me no more recommendations. We're not doing any more food orders together. The only way we do food orders together is if I'm ordering and I ask you if you want something. But I don't want you to ask me if I want nothing. Okay? I will starve. I'm done. I'm done with her. So before I wrap up today, you're right, she set me up for disappointment again. I learned my lesson though. I won't do it again. The only reason, look, and she can't hear me. Look, I'm gonna have to be a little. She can't hear me talking about this right now because she downstairs asleep. So I ain't got to worry about her popping up in my live. Look, I can pop that shit right now cause she's asleep. You know what I mean? But if I hear her moving around, I'll be like, gotta go. You sitting up here acting like we talking about something. So when you look at the averages on eggs, that is not what we're talking about. I just know she down here sleeping, so I'm like, I was able to tell that little story right now while she not available at the moment. But thank y'all so much for joining me. I want to send a shout out to my top 5 gifters this evening because y'all know I do that every live, right? Number 1, beautiful Sanopa. Hey, beautiful. Number 2, handsome Russ Nelson. Number 3, beautiful Stacy D. Number 4, beautiful Soyana. Number 5, beautiful JK. And a special shout out to number 6, beautiful Living Life. Thank you all so much. Don't forget what I told you. It's a new episode 23. Hollywood was always political. Available now on Patreon for those paid members. It'll be available tomorrow to everybody on all platforms, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all gonna love the episode when I connect the dots for you. How Hollywood been feeding you propaganda through television shows and movies for decades, and how that has leaned into the rest of your life. And what you can do is you continue to watch movies and TV shows so you can separate the propaganda from being entertained, because there's a way to do that without getting caught up. Okay. Thank you all so much. Yep, like Bambi. Thank you all so much for your time today. I appreciate it so much. Listen, I want to tell you something. Yes, enjoy your night, each and every one of you. I will be back on tomorrow morning. I'll be on before 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time because it's Friday. So I'm going to get on and try to help you get ready for the day. Give you something to listen to as you're going to work. So I'll be on a little earlier than 9. So I'll see you in the morning. I appreciate, oh shoot, I didn't realize that. Thank you all so much for all of the likes. I appreciate it. And I want to tell you, like I always tell you, don't let nobody live rent-free in your head. Don't feed the trolls, and you can accomplish anything you put your mind to as long as you stay consistent. I meant to say this too. Because I made that change in the Patreon, you got 23 episodes of the podcast that you can listen to over there. You also have an additional 12 backroom episodes to listen to. So if you want to hear me talk about all these different things, there's plenty of content over there. Go over there and check it out. I love you guys. See you in the morning. Peace, you guys. Bye-bye. Look, I tried to be smooth. I didn't get it right. Bye-bye, you guys.